Welcome back to AIM Northwest. In her new memoir, our next guest tells a story of her own complicated path to motherhood and weaves in the stories of her patients, friends, and medical colleagues. We welcome the author of Held Together, a shared memoir of motherhood, medicine, and imperfect love, Dr. Rebecca Thompson. Good to have you with us, Doc.
Thank you so much for having me.
So tell me about, how did you have this idea to write not just a bit of your memoir, but others as well?
Right. Well, when I was first finishing up my training and starting out as a new doctor many years ago, my husband and I went through a string of complicated and life-threatening pregnancy losses.
Wow, I'm so sorry.
Thank
It's
you.
Like 3 losses, right? That's a lot.
Yeah, and in very quick succession. And in spite of my medical experience and training, I just felt really overwhelmed by the whole thing.
Sure.
And really isolated. But once I did start sharing a little bit about our story, I found that I wasn't alone at all. And so many people around me started sharing their own stories of, losses they'd never really talked about with anyone else. And almost everyone seemed to have something to say about their complicated family relationships. So I wanted to use these to make something bigger out of our experiences and maybe help other people benefit and see that they could get through things like this too.
Do you think that sharing these incredible personal stories is important to moms to be? I mean, sharing compassion, because doctors get taught medicine,
right?
But they don't necessarily get taught compassion.
I don't know that you can teach it. I think just over time, as you get more and more experience in the world and more perspective, you gain it, I hope, if you're you're watching
and also
listening.
if you hear the stories, and you can connect with them,
and just deep listening to them.
That's
the most rewarding part of medicine, though.
So when you've shared first of all, talk to me about the women you talk to, and give me one story that maybe stands out a little bit.
Sure. So there are 21 other women's stories in the book, and each of them is told when her story intersects with mine at a moment in time. These are my patients, my friends, my medical colleagues, and they're all people that I know in my life. They're not anyone I solicited or said, please, anyone with a story about such and such, come forward. These are just people that I happen to know, and a lot of them know each other. And so over time, over about 10 years, we worked together to collaborate on each story. She and I would talk, walk, have phone calls, write everything down, record it, and then use her words to craft the best version of her story that we could together.
And what did you find out? I mean, you knew these women, but maybe you didn't really know them as well as you thought you did, or know their story of heartache as well as you thought you did.
And like your question a moment ago about what stands out, the stories that really stay with me the most, I think, in all of life, but in this book too, are the ones that show the deeper context of people's lives and the long arc of family over generations. So these aren't just these aren't just early parenthood, adoption, pregnancy, and birth stories. One that comes to mind is Eriko's story. This one, at the beginning, we learn about her grandparents and her parents and their experience as Japanese Americans back during wartime, and she comes into the family and how their experiences shape the advice that they give to her. And as she grows up, reconciling what she might envision for her life and her career and wanting to be a doctor, but her family saying, well, maybe you can't really be a mother if you become a doctor. And how does she balance that? How did she decide what her family and her culture is telling her to do and what she knows she wants for herself? And in the end, we see, without giving too much away, that she does go through a complicated, long path to get there, but she figures out what she really wants out of life. And she builds this family that is like nothing she ever would have expected. And she brings it all together in a way that shows that even through the complications and the challenges, it's not about how we're broken and things don't work, but it's about how we heal and bring all those pieces together.
Right. Do you think, and I'm curious, I have not been a mother, but I'm just wondering if mothers women who are pregnant, about to have their first baby, get told, well, women do this all the time. But everyone's story is different, right? And everyone's pain is different, and reaction to loss can be different. And we need to learn how to handle that and how to connect with them, right?
Yes, and there are so many ways to be a mother.
Right.
In this book and in life, not all motherhood is biological. we talk about stories of adoption and fostering and surrogacy and step-parenthood, and even the idea of how teaching can be a form of mothering your whole community.
Do you think healthcare workers need to learn how to validate everyone's experience?
I think it's great if they can.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many competing demands in healthcare, right? I mean, limited time. But whenever we can take a moment when we're working with families and people to try to understand just a little bit of their story, I think that allows us to give them better care, but also find more meaning in our own work and connecting with them.
In addition to losing a child, I know that there have been issues with postpartum depression, with lactation. That can also be it. Those are all issues that really need to be given more thought, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when we hear people's individual stories, they really show us some of the universal lessons of the things that we can all struggle with and that all families go through in different ways. So whatever the specifics are, right, we're not alone in the shared fact that being part of a family just can be hard. People are complicated, and that's where this idea of imperfect love comes in the title. And
connect with each other, tell your stories.
And be patient.
Be patient.
Forgive each other and yourself when things don't go quite as you'd hoped.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a book event on Sunday at PALS, and you have other doctors as well, right?
Yes.
Tell me more.
The moderator will be Dr. Wendy Davis of Postpartum Support International, and I will be in conversation with my own obstetrician, who is in the book, as you saw, and that's Daphna Lore, and then two of my patients, Anna David and Kelly Burke, will also be there. So we'll be able to share perspectives on this book, how it came together, and how our stories all intersected.
I love it.
Times.
We want to tell everyone the book again is titled Held Together, a Shared Memoir of Motherhood, Medicine, and Imperfect Love. Dr. Rebecca Thompson, thank you so much. We'll put that info for everyone on our website at KTO.com. We'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away.